name is Jenna Swenson. I'm a fourth-year PhD student in the Environmental Chemistry and Technology program. So I chose a PhD, first and foremost, because I really loved research as an undergrad. I got to do a lot of undergrad research, which was super cool and a really great opportunity. And I found myself just really loving essentially being a scientist. I didn't really know that you could be a scientist when I went to college. And so I kind of thought the only things that you could do with a chemistry degree was go to medical school, go to pharmacy school, or like go into industry and like make cosmetics. I've always had a passion for teaching and mentoring. And so with a PhD, I can hopefully eventually be a faculty member somewhere and kind of integrate those two sides of loving research as well as loving being a mentor. So what sparked my interest in EC&T was, first of all, I'm a chemist by trade. That's what my undergrad degree is in. But I've always loved applied chemistry. I want something that's a little bit more applicable to everyday life. And so that's what's really cool about environmental chemistry, and specifically this program, is we're all, for the most part, chemists by trade, but we're taking our chemistry knowledge and kind of taking what the analytical chemists and the other chemists have done and starting to apply it to a really messy matrix and trying to see, okay, do these chemical principles that we learn about in these really clean systems still kind of hold up in an environmental matrix? I'm investigating the degradation of organic contaminants called phenols. So these can be things like pharmaceuticals, pesticides, industrial chemicals. I look at how these contaminants degrade using naturally occurring minerals called manganese oxides. So manganese oxides are naturally occurring in all environmental systems, and they're really reactive, which makes them a really great avenue for degrading things like these different organic contaminants. And so I look at how these contaminants break down in different environmental and engineered systems. Since these minerals are found all throughout the environment, this is one potential degradation pathway in the environment that's important to understand for the fate and transport of different contaminants. But these minerals can also be used for water treatment applications and can actually be a less hazardous treatment option than our traditional use of like chlorine, as the byproducts of manganese oxides are going to be potentially less hazardous than our traditional methods. My goal is to show that the experiments that we do in the lab in like really clean water, really simple matrix, are really not that reflective of what's happening in the environment. Kind of my goal with my projects is to show that we need to start taking it to the next level and start incorporating other aspects of the environment into our experiments to be able to accurately reflect what's happening in the environment. So in my experiments, I use things like natural waters or wastewater samples and essentially try to see, okay, when we put this in a sample from a lake, does the same thing happen that we do in the lab with our really clean water? Take advantage of as many opportunities as you can, and also try a bunch of different things out, because that is the beauty of undergrad, is you get to just try a bunch of different things and like you can find out that you can be a scientist, and that's really cool. I think my piece of advice would be, just try anything that sparks your interest, and if you don't like it, that's okay. That's important information. Send the email, get some interest, and just try different things.